In the quiet streets of Asheville, North Carolina, on the night of January 2, 2000, the life of 18-year-old Zebb Quinn took an unexpected turn. Little did he know, as he completed his final shift at Walmart, that it would mark the beginning of a mystery that would endure for years. Vanishing without a trace, Quinn left behind a perplexing puzzle that would baffle authorities for over a decade. Now, with the passage of time, a revelation emerges, a startling discovery that casts suspicion on his co-worker and supposed friend. In the shadows of this small-town disappearance lies a tale of secrets, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of truth. This is the bizarre disappearance of Zebb Quinn. Zebb Quinn was born on May 12, 1981 in Asheville, North Carolina, where he lived with his mother, Denise Vlahakis. He enrolled at Asheville Buncombe Technical Community College after graduating from T.C. Robertson High School. Zebb was also part of the Reserve Officers Training Corps, or the ROTC. He had dreams and aspirations to become a productive member of society as a commissioned officer in the armed forces. Until then, Zebb enjoyed working in the electronics department at Walmart. Family members described this young man as kind and caring. Even on the job, Zebb had built friendships with co-workers, including one Robert Owens. He was saving money to buy a new car, which was the reason he left work that night with Robert. Zebb met his co-worker and friend Robert Owens, age 22, in the Walmart parking lot after finishing his shift at 9 p.m. on January 2, 2000. According to Robert, he had told Zebb about a Mitsubishi Eclipse in Leicester, since Zebb wanted to buy a new car and they were going to look at it. Zebb followed Robert in his Mazda Protege, and Robert drove his car. A convenience store security camera caught the two young men buying sodas shortly before Zebb disappeared. The following day, Zebb's mother, Denise Vlahakis, reported him missing. More than 2 decades later, Zebb remains missing. This has greatly impacted his family's grief as they're unable to find closure.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about Zebb and wonder where he is.
Zebb reportedly signaled to Robert to pull over by flashing his headlights after receiving a message on his pager around 9:30 p.m. They were near Zebb's former high school on Long Shoals Road. Zebb told Robert that he needed to return a call from a page he received. Robert suggested going to a gas station to find a payphone. After returning from using a payphone, Zebb appeared frantic and abruptly canceled their plans. The origin and content of the page remain unknown, adding to the mystery surrounding Zebb's actions that night. 4 days after Zebb disappeared without a trace, his car was found in a restaurant parking lot. The headlights were on and the back window had strange drawings on it. There was an exclamation mark and a mouth drawn with lipstick. A live black Labrador puppy was inside the car. Additionally, police found an unidentifiable hotel key card, a jacket that did not belong to Zebb, and several bottles inside the car. Witnesses also said they had seen a woman driving around in Zebb's Mazda. The morning after Zebb disappeared, Robert started exhibiting strange behavior. He provided conflicting accounts of his interactions with Zebb on the night of his disappearance. Robert initially claimed Zebb canceled their plans due to a page he received. Still, he later admitted to a different sequence of events, including a car accident involving Zebb and injuries sustained by Robert. According to Robert, Zebb was in such a hurry to leave that he rear-ended Robert's car. Robert also claimed he was in a car accident unrelated to his encounter with Zebb. Hours later, Robert admitted himself to a hospital. Robert was injured, but not with injuries consistent with being in a car collision. He stated that several fractured ribs and a head injury occurred from a different car crash. Robert claimed the accident occurred near a Waffle House restaurant on Long Shoals Road at an Interstate 26 intersection. However, he didn't file a car accident report, and police never found evidence of a second accident. 2 days after Zebb was last seen, his Walmart electronics department supervisor received a phone call. The man claimed to be Zebb and reported he would not be coming in due to an illness. However, co-workers said the voice was unfamiliar. Later, the call was traced back to a Volvo construction equipment plant. Robert worked there, which raised suspicion about Robert's involvement in Zebb's disappearance. When asked about this connection, Robert said Zebb had asked him to make the call on his behalf. The disappearance led police to speak with people who knew Zebb well. Their conversations revealed that Zebb had a romantic interest in Misty Taylor. The two met during a Christmas party that was held at a restaurant owned by Zebb's mother's fiancé. Although Zebb became romantically interested in Misty, she was involved in a troubled relationship with Wesley Smith. However, this budding romance was short-lived. Reportedly, Zebb felt threatened by Wesley after he discovered Zebb's interactions with Misty. Although Misty and Wesley denied involvement, their connection to Zebb and Robert added complexity to the case. Because of this connection, police collected hair, fingerprint, and saliva samples from Misty years after Zebb's disappearance. However, Misty was never considered a person of interest or suspect in Zebb's disappearance. The investigation into Zebb's disappearance began when his mother filed a missing persons report 2 days after he was last seen with Robert. Also, one of Zebb's former classmates called his mother saying she saw Zebb's protege in a restaurant parking lot. Later, a couple reported seeing Zebb's car being driven by a woman. A composite sketch produced by the couple's memory appeared to have a shocking resemblance to Misty Taylor. After speaking with Robert, the police looked into the page Zebb supposedly received that night. The page was traced back to Ina Eustich, Zebb's aunt, who denied making the call. Raising more suspicions, Ina claims she was at a friend's house for dinner at the time the page was sent. It turns out that the friend was also Misty's mother. Misty and Wesley were also at her mother's house that night for dinner. Ina denied sending the page to Zebb. If his aunt was not at home, how did the call come from Ina's phone? Adding more confusion, Ina reported a break-in at her house that same night. Although nothing was stolen, she said that some items were moved out of place. Misty and Wesley denied any involvement in Zebb's disappearance. With no solid evidence that connected them to a potential crime, the investigation into Zebb's disappearance ended. These were just the beginning of baffling clues that would take decades and a double murder for police to unravel. Over the next 15 years after Zebb's mysterious disappearance, Robert would face a slew of charges and convictions for reckless driving, assault on an officer, drunken disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, speed to elude arrest, and habitual impaired driving. Between 2002 and 2009, approximately 23 months of his life was spent in state prison. In 2015, justice for Zebb Quinn's family began to unfold at the expense of grief for another family. On March 17th, Robert was charged with murdering Christy Schoen-Codd, a former Food Network star contestant, her husband Joseph J.T. Codd, and their unborn child. Robert confessed that he killed the family by accidentally running over them. In an attempt to hide their bodies, he dismembered their remains. After charges for the Codd family murders were brought, detectives investigating Zebb's disappearance obtained a search warrant for Robert's property. One of the tips police received was that Robert had started and aborted a fish pond project soon after Zebb went missing. The evidence found buried beneath the pond's concrete included leather materials, unknown hard fragments, fabric, and plastic bags containing possibly pulverized lime or powdered mortar mix. The significance of these findings and their potential connection to Zebb's disappearance remain unclear. However, on July 10, 2017, this new evidence was enough for a grand jury to indict Robert Owens with first-degree murder for Zebb Quinn's death. According to the Asheville Police Department, many years of persistent investigative work by detectives, partnerships with Zebb Quinn's family, and the district attorney's office led to Robert's indictment. A few months prior to this, on April 27th, Robert pled guilty to 3 counts of second-degree murder for murdering the Codd family. He also pled to 2 counts of dismembering human remains. He received a 59 to 74-year prison sentence without the possibility of parole. A court date for Zebb's murder trial was set for July 11, 2022. However, Robert pled guilty on July 25th to accessory after-the-fact first-degree murder. He received a 150 to 189-month prison sentence to run concurrently with his previous sentence. Over the years, the visibility of Zebb Quinn's story has increased. Unfortunately, the real truth about what happened on January 2, 2000 may never be revealed. Not only is there lack of solid evidence, but also Robert's inconsistent tales about Zebb may keep the truth buried. One of those ever-changing stories was Robert accusing his deceased uncle, Walter Gene Owens, of shooting and killing Zebb.
Gene reached in the back of the pickup truck, brought out a .22 rifle and shot him in the back of the head.
He claimed his uncle was hired by Misty Taylor's boyfriend to kill Zebb and that he assisted in the cover-up. This revelation adds further layers of mystery to the case and raises questions about Robert's credibility. In a handwritten statement, Robert reveals that he saw his uncle Gene use a .22 rifle to shoot and kill Zebb. His explanation for why his uncle would shoot Zebb was to end a love triangle. Supposedly, Misty's jealous boyfriend knew Gene and asked him to help keep Zebb away from her, so Gene decided that murder was the best solution. He allegedly shot Zebb in the back of the head and buried his remains in Bent Creek. However, no remains were found when the area was searched. Robert was given a polygraph test and asked whether he was a witness to Gene Owens shooting and killing Zebb Quinn. The result showed he passed when he answered yes.
And had he witnessed Gene Owens shoot and kill Zebb Quinn, his answer was yes.
Questions continue to swirl around the bizarre disappearance of Zebb Quinn. This story has gained widespread visibility with an appearance on Disappeared, a show on the popular investigation Discovery Channel. Yet nothing concrete has materialized. The peculiar clues of lipstick on a car window, twists of a dead uncle, and turns of strange evidence on Robert Owens' property has not been enough to unravel this mystery.